Good afternoon. Welcome to Channel 8 Sports and East Brunswick High School football. Hi, I'm John Meggiolaro with Phil Hill and Jim Allinder for this afternoon's game between Woodbridge and East Brunswick. And gentlemen, this game is a lot sweeter knowing now by this afternoon that East Brunswick has qualified for the playoffs and will play on November 19th. And Jim, let's start off with East Brunswick. That's got to help them out, obviously.
It really will, and I believe the date is going to be November 20th. I'm sorry, we'll go back to the 19th. It's going to be a Saturday afternoon game, okay. 1 p.m., and most likely the Bears will be playing at Madison Central. We don't know that for sure because some things possibly can change with respect to seeding. Manalapan and Middletown South are presently the second and third seeded teams that may be reversed. But depending on what they do this afternoon, East Brunswick could move up a notch, and if that's the case, then they could play as a second or third seeded team, one of those two teams, rather than Madison Central. But I think it's a pretty safe bet that the Middletown South and Manalapan are going to win their games. East Brunswick should be prepared to play Madison Central, but what the heck? Last night it didn't look too good, quite frankly. Ocean Township was the team that they needed to overcome, and Ocean really gave East Brunswick the break it needed by losing to Raritan 10-7 last night. That eliminates them. Hunterdon Central is eliminated, even though they have a 7-1 record. And so the Bears now find themselves in a position of playing a game today and prepping for the playoffs, a whole different situation. This could have been the last game of the season. As it is now, the Bears have a lot more incentive. I think that's going to raise the level of their game today. They are going to have a lot more incentive to finish on an up note on a regular season basis, prep themselves for another go at Madison Central. I think we're going to see a great game this afternoon.
Okay, and Phil, Woodbridge is an opponent that we're quite familiar with. They've been on the schedule for years, except they have a new wrinkle this year. Mike Salento, former Perth Amboy coach, comes over here now and coaches the Barrons.
That's right, and he comes with the wishbone. Mike Salento, very loose, talking to him earlier today. His team is 3-4. He looked at me and smiled and said, we'll be 4-4 after the day's over. I heard him say to his team while they were doing calisthenics, we're just a warm-up for them. They don't need us. They're in the playoffs already. So he's using that for psychological advantage for his team. They lost to a very good Colonia team. I think it was about 21-6 or something like that. And Colonia is an extremely good team. I saw them last night against Madison Central. If they're as loose as their coach is, they could cause some problems for East Brunswick. East Brunswick still has to handle that wishbone effectively.
Well, like you said, they have to shut down the wishbone, and I would think it's to their advantage at this point to see it again.
If I was Marcus Borden, it's better than having a week off to prepare for Madison Central. You actually got another team here who's running the offense that you're going to play against in the state finals, and it's just ideal. No pressure. They don't need this game to win, but yet they can perfect some of the individual responsibilities that they have to do in order to shut down the wishbone.
Okay, and we'll see how the Bears, and particularly their defense, looks at that wishbone defense. Wishbone offense, rather, of Woodbridge's in just a moment. Well, you see at the far end of the stadium, and for our opening, I think one of the nicest things that East Brunswick does, and that is, this is Senior Parent Day, if you will, and all the senior players come out with their parents and are introduced. And we'll try to pick up those players for you. That's number 4 for East Brunswick, and that is Venue Bandaru. He's a senior. And you see him with Coach Marcus Borden, his mom and dad, and the captain of the cheerleaders. Next up is Brett Charleston and Mr. and Mrs. Charleston. And each parent is escorted, obviously, by their son and an East Brunswick High School varsity cheerleader.
East Brunswick, a senior-dominated team. This is going to take a while, John.
Number 61 coming up next is Rosario Chetta with his mom. Center Dave Clark comes forward with Mr. and Mrs. Clark. And I know Dave's going to cringe when I say this, but he used to be my paper boy.
Did he deliver on time?
He did. He was good. That's Mike Diallo, his parents, number 70. And Tino Duano will be next up.
Next we have number 22, George Pinfield, and his parents, Mr. and Mrs. Pete Nagenstad.
Joe DeVito coming forward, number 22, will be the next senior.
And certainly one of the most popular of all East Brunswick students.
Tell you what, he played an excellent game last week.
He
One
did.
of the finest efforts, individual efforts I've seen this season.
Next in line we have
Mike Feldman, number 81.
We mentioned before Miss Feldman, an art teacher at Memorial School.
You're showing your age, Phil.
Comes Brian.
Brian Forte with his mom and dad.
Final game here at East Brunswick. Hard to believe, isn't it?
That is, and it's been a long year for Brian.
It has.
It really has, but an excellent talent.
I'm sure he's glad that it's being extended, though.
And you see the athletes, the players standing under the goalpost. They have their picture taken, which is a nice gift that they get to keep.
And I tell you, from Phil Hostler said Joe Giroux will be back next week for the playoffs. He will play. So that's a.
Oh, that's a surprise.
And you see Joe there, number 18. He'll be followed by Dave Goldstein, number 23.
Who, by the way, John, has an opportunity to break the single season rushing mark for East Brunswick. If he gets 100 yards exactly, he will have 917, and that will eclipse the record that is held by currently Dave Kurzau, 1971.
Interesting.
I believe this is Warren Greenberg. No, Dan Armino. Mike Hack next. Mike number 63.
The Hack Man. We coined that phrase last year.
Dave Hannon, number 79, will be coming forward. Phil, I know they do this at South River, and
Yep.
it's really a nice touch.
It is a nice touch. These guys, even the guys that aren't starters and the names that we don't always recognize, but they put in time all year, and to be able to walk out here your last game with your parents is a real nice touch.
And Mark Harmon will be following Dave Hannon. And there's Mark and his parents, escorted by Michelle Hill.
She likes that.
Yeah. Tom Joe Henkins is next, number 65. Tom has had a great season for East Brunswick.
And how about this young man as far as having a season? Danny Levine.
And Dan Levine with his parents, number 5.
And we've been saying Dan Levine will probably be All-State. I didn't realize Gil Gutierrez from St. John Vianney is back again this year. If they do it based on what have you done for me lately, Danny should win it hands down.
There's Phil Miller. I was surprised to see him dress. He
Yeah.
really went down with a severe ankle injury last week, but apparently he's all right.
And you see Phil, number 68. And this is Dave Potter, number 85. Kind of towering over the cheerleader there. Mark Rulo up. No, I'm sorry. This is number 24. That's, I think, John Pressman. Here are the Rulos. That's Mark Rulo. His brother, obviously, Greg, plays as well. Number 76, Bob Zimmerman. Number 75, Sean Smith.
And Sean has been a mainstay for the defense all year.
Long time. And Ramon Trent, number 3.
What can you say about Ramon? Boy, he's done it all, and I'm sure he'd like to do more before the season's out.
And as you look at his parents, probably no parents enjoy the game as much as they do. They really are supportive, and it's great.
Okay, so that's been senior day here. Seniors and their parents being introduced before the home crowd, their last home game here at East Brunswick High School. It is a touching event, and we'll be back with the start of the game in just a moment. Okay, as you see, East Brunswick Bears coming onto the field. They'll stretch out a little bit as they get ready for the opening kickoff. As we mentioned, the Woodbridge Barrons are their opponent. They come in 3 and 4. Phil, do they play on Thanksgiving?
Good question. I believe they do. I mean, East Brunswick's one of the few teams that doesn't play on Thanksgiving.
Well, Phil, actually, it's starting to become a growing trend with the greater emphasis on state playoffs. I think some coaches feel that not having to deal with a Thanksgiving game makes it a little more advantageous for them. After all, Thanksgiving games are played about 4 or 5 days after a state playoff game, which would be the situation this year. I think East Brunswick feels just as thankful that they do not have to deal with a Thanksgiving game. I grant you, coming from a place like South River, you must believe that tradition and the pomp and circumstance and everything else you want to call it is really tremendous.
Well, I tell you, Thanksgiving game for South River or places like South River, like triple homecoming games. You get people that come home from all over, and you're going to see people you haven't seen for years at a Thanksgiving game, not a homecoming game, and it's just a great part of tradition. And yeah, what better way to start out a Thanksgiving evening?
I agree with you. I've never had any problem. I know coming from New Brunswick High School, and then our traditional game was with, I believe, some team from South River, if I remember correctly. Some tremendous games played at that time, Rutgers Stadium. We used to fill up the place.
That's right. It was great.
It was just wonderful.
All right, you see Mark Harmon and Brian Forte, the captains for East Brunswick, out at the center of the field. Woodbridge is in the visitors' white jerseys, East Brunswick the home green. And East Brunswick has won the toss, and they'll be moving from left to right on your screen. My feeling is, and I obviously I have no inside information, but I think East Brunswick's going to open it up, try a little bit of everything today. I think you're going to see Forte throwing long, seeing if Woodbridge can keep up with them.
Conditions are certainly right.
Yeah.
You can't ask for a better day. There is really no wind to speak of.
No wind and no pressure.
And we want to point out, as you look at the East Brunswick kickoff return team come out, that we will be at Madison Central next week. That's the opponent, and we're pretty certain Madison Central will be the opponent for East Brunswick's first round playoff action. As you see, going back deep for East Brunswick, Ramon Trent, Dave Goldstein, and Mike Pilato.
You talk about us going back to Madison Central next week. I tell you, John, I feel a whole lot better about it, and after seeing them last night, and I'll expound on that a little bit later.
I want to get my little plug for Saraville in before we're out of here, because they have a shot for better than 500 seasons for the first time since 1968.
Wow. 20 years. Wendokin, number 44, will kick it off for the Barrons. And we're just a few seconds away from getting this game underway. East Brunswick's last home game of 1988. And here we go. It's a short kick. Going to be fielded by Goldstein at the 20 and just short of the 25, and that's where East Brunswick will take over and start this game.
Well, watch for Woodbridge to apply a pass rush, just as other teams have against East Brunswick this year.
Which was Kowski on the tackle there.
First and 10 for the Bears. The ball spotted at their own 23.
You talked about opening up with the pass, John. I'll tell you what, East Brunswick matches up very well against Woodbridge. I don't think they can cover the wideouts quite like other teams have.
Trent and Greenberg wide left. Forte, and here's that little screen pass out to Trent. And Trent picks up maybe 2 yards. And they've started that the last 3 games with that play, Phil.
And you got to believe, maybe, I believe it, and if not, I have to believe that they're going to do something off that one time. Several teams have seen it now and obviously defended it well, but you got to believe they're going to draw them in to Ramon, and Ramon's going to heave one to someone.
All right, let's call it 2nd and 8 from the Bears 25. We've just started the game here from East Brunswick High School. Trent and Charleston now to the right. Forte looks like he's called an audible. Looking outside to Trent. Trent's got it. Trent still on his feet and taken out about midfield. First down, East Brunswick.
Well, they have number 9. We don't have a number 9. Yes, we do. Joe Hill. And Joe Hill's playing Ramon Trent one-on-one. And if that's going to stay that way, I got to believe Ramon's going to have a big day today.
Ball spotted just short of midfield. East Brunswick 1st and 10. Let's call it the 47-yard line. I formation. This is Goldstein. Goldstein's going to be dropped for a loss.
Joe Brzezinski on a big tackle there, shooting the gap and tackling Goldstein for a loss.
Goldstein gets back to the East Brunswick 45, so it'll be 2nd and 12.
Woodbridge has always been tough against the run.
Forte goes into the shotgun formation. Switches Trent over to the left side. He's got plenty of time,
Yeah,
looking.
Nice blocking.
Still has time. He's going to pull it down and run with it. He's got the whole left side if he can get a block. He
Good
does
block.
from Trent.
Great block.
One more from DeVito. Woo! And Forte's going to take it in.
Oh, boy.
Brian Forte, 55 yards for the score.
2 nice blocks, one by Ramon Trent to spring Brian Forte loose around the left side.
And the other by Joe DeVito downfield. You got to like it.
Right, and Marcus Borden, the East Brunswick coach, has said that Joey DeVito enjoys blocking more than even running the ball. That's hard to believe, but it's true, and you see it right there.
Touchdown East Brunswick. Dan Levine on to add the 7th point with 9:52 left in this first period. So East Brunswick gets on the board real quick.
Boy, it's really hard to see the clock.
Kick is good. So the Bears go on top 7-0. And Phil, if you're Mike Salento, you didn't want to see that.
You didn't want to see that at all. Mike Salento talked about keeping the ball out of Brian Forte's hands. Of course, his offense hasn't had the ball yet, but that's exactly what he's afraid of. Brian can hurt you so many ways, with the arm or with the legs.
Danny Levine, that's his 22nd extra point, and he has been perfect this year.
All right, and Levine will kick it off for the Bears. They'll send back Ziedzik, number 22. He'll be the middleman. Number 27 is Jason Hunt. And number 8, I guess that's number 9, Joe Hill. And Levine.
You got a whistle.
And whistles blowing.
Apparently East Brunswick was offside on that. Boy, that was a great run by Brian Forte, wasn't it, Phil?
Excellent run. He took off. He had one defender just about to tackle him, and Brian just stepped away from him, turned across field, and as you saw, the tremendous blocks by the team. And
he had a nice presence of mind to not throw the ball. I think he was tempted. He saw Joey DeVito open in the flat there, in the middle actually, but he was over or past the line of scrimmage, and if he had thrown it, the play would have been called back, but he had the presence of mind to tuck the ball under his arm and run for it.
All right, so they'll move the Bears back 5 yards. And Levine, high kick is going to be Hill at about the 20, across the 25 to about the 26. I'm sorry, 30.
Okay, we take a look at the East Brunswick defense. Back this week is Tom Jahankin, 65, after serving a one-game suspension. And he'll make a difference in the East Brunswick middle. You got Sean Smith, 75, and Mike Hack, 63 on the line.
All right,
I'm sorry, go ahead, John.
Woodbridge starts from their own 31. Tolko is the quarterback. And they run that wishbone, and it's right up the middle to the fullback. And Sean Smith is right there to wrestle down. And I'm trying to pick up a number. I believe it was Paperi, number 33.
Just to finish out the East Brunswick defense, Todd Pichar on the left side, and you have Duano, 35, Rulo, 40, 50, Matt Pazinko, Mark Harmon, 34.
2nd and 9 for the Barrons. Again, the fullback up the middle.
And Jimmy, you've heard it till you. I know you're sick and tired of hearing it, but you've heard me talk about stopping the fullback so often as part of the necessary part of controlling the wishbone.
Yeah.
Here they're able to do it. If you look at Woodbridge wishbone, the backs look a lot closer than Madison Central's have.
Well, they don't have the speed, that's for sure. They don't have the inside and outside speed.
That was Ziedzik on the carry. It'll bring up a 3rd and 8. Ball now on the Woodbridge 34.
By the way, Trent and Forte are two of the defensive backs for East Brunswick.
Tolko looks up in the air and throws it. Incomplete. He was looking for his tight end. That's Ron Vieras.
And that was not a successful 3 downs for Woodbridge. They really got nowhere.
And they'll punt, and they'll be punting to Mark Harmon, number 34, and Ramon Trent, number 3. Here's the punt. Trent's going to let it roll. And it's going to be whistled dead at the East Brunswick 30-yard line. And the Bears will go on offense once again. They lead 7-0.
So good field position for the Bears already.
Boy, you talked about that flat flare to Ramon Trent. We're going to have to watch that.
Trent goes out wide left. Greenberg in the slot left. Split back formation. Forte will roll to his left. And he's going to keep it because he's got that whole left side. He's got the first down. Still on his feet at midfield and gets into Woodbridge territory.
It's a good 20-yard gain.
Good 20-yard gain, and Brian, at the end of that 20-yard, he tried to do a 360-degree turn and pick up more yardage.
Yeah.
Rather daring.
Shades of Billy Brunig 3 years ago. He used to use that spin move to get yards.
They are double-teaming Trent now.
Trent and Charleston come to the right. I formation. Goldstein. He'll pick up maybe a yard. It'll bring up 2nd down and 9 for East Brunswick.
It's interesting. They're double-teaming Trent when he's the only man out on the wing. When they put 2 receivers out there, they put an additional defender out there for the additional receiver. So that still makes it single coverage.
Ball spotted on the Woodbridge 48. East Brunswick leading 7-0. 6:30 to go here in the first period. Forte still has it. He's got some time, steps up in the pocket, and is going to run once again.
Great
Good
block by
Trent.
Trent.
Trent again with a good block as Forte picks up the first down.
Took out 2 people that time.
I'll tell you, and I'm not saying they borrowed it, but one of the things when you look at the films at a very good team such as Madison Central was, one of the things you notice is downfield blocking, and I think it's gotten contagious. We've seen more downfield blocking already than we've seen a lot of the year, and that's what you got to do, carry out the play to the fullest.
Forte already with 86 yards and 3 carries.
1st and 10 for the Bears on the Woodbridge 37. Trent and Charleston to the left. Goldstein. And Goldstein puts his head down and picks up about 6 yards. And as Jimmy mentioned, if Dave Goldstein can rush for 100 yards today, he will break the high school record for yards in a season.
And he has to be the biggest surprise for the Bears this year.
2nd and 4 for the Bears. Ball on the Woodbridge 30. Forte still has it. Looks right over the middle of Potter. He's got it. 1st down inside the 15-yard line.
And that was the primary play right there. That was not a dump pass by any stretch of the imagination.
That's right, a little play action, and they hit Potter. And as they prepare for the Spartans, they have to pull out all the stops. And we've said it time and time again. We've probably talked about it too much, that is one aspect of the game that they don't seem to use a lot.
Timeout Woodbridge, and I know there are 2 people happy to see that play. Dave Potter's father and me.
Bobby DeMarco, the Madison coach, is here today. He knew that he would be playing the Bears again. And it's very interesting, Phil, that you remarked that flare pass to Ramon Trent could develop into another pass. I never really thought of that. I thought of the hook and ladder as one option. But for Trent, and then we have seen Trent throw before, if I remember correctly. So that is one option, and I'm sure that Borden is going to show a lot of stuff today.
Well, you know, that's from that school of thought. You either save what you can. They look like they can handle Woodbridge. Save what you can, or show an awful lot, and have them worry about it an awful lot. Have them try to prepare for too much.
Yeah, just looking at these first 2 series that East Brunswick has had the ball, this is easily the best protection that the Bears have given Forte. And let's see what he does with that protection.
All right, 1st and 10 for East Brunswick on the Woodbridge 14. Looking to add to their 7-0 lead. Pitch to Goldstein, left side. Cuts it upfield. Goldstein still on his feet. And he's down to about the 2-yard line. 1st down, East Brunswick.
Again, good running by Dave Goldstein, running behind those larger attack blockers, and he just dips and doos and continues to pick up good yardage.
Great upfield blocking by the line.
So it'll be 1st and goal for the Bears. 5:15 remain here in the 1st period. On a very sunny, fall-like day here at J. Doyle Field. I formation. Goldstein trying to go off tackle. Is he in? He is. Dave Goldstein, touchdown East Brunswick.
Making it look rather easy.
That's right. Dave Goldstein's 12th touchdown of the year.
So the Bears are up 13-0. As Dan Levine will come trotting out once again.
Is that 5:08, John? I can't tell. The sun is...
I think it's 5 minutes left, Jim.
Okay.
Still 1st period action. Dan Levine looking to put on the 14th point. And he does.
Well, whatever problems East Brunswick experienced initially with respect to point afters has disappeared. They have made that an art form right now. Good center snaps, Warren Greenberg, an excellent holder, and Levine putting it through. And that could be important. It really can. I've seen a lot of games lost, particularly playoff games lost by errant points.
While we have a break in the action, I want to be one of the first to congratulate publicly Don Weider and the boys gymnastics team, who last night won their 16th state championship, and it's 16 out of the last 21 years, I believe.
Wow.
That Don has won that. And to his athletes and to him, we offer our congratulations. Another outstanding season.
About the girls, Leslie Gardner's team.
Leslie Gardner's team,
Doing
Gatner's
excellent.
team rather, is another super team. Levine kicks it off on a line drive. This is Zedick right up the middle. And he's still going. He crosses the 35. And if there's been a weak point for East Brunswick this year, it has been on the return yardage against them.
Pilato and Rulo were in on the tackle.
You know, we speak of Madison Central. One thing you want to do is not allow them to run that ball back.
We're already looking ahead, aren't we?
We can't help but it.
The thoughts are going through my mind, too.
Tolko brings him out. 1st and 10. Paperi picks up about 5 yards as he's wrestled out of bounds.
Yeah, that's the most yards that Woodbridge has gained this afternoon. This being their second series. I really want to ask Marcus Borden after this game is over and with the game safely in hand, when it is that point, you know, just what it's going to be like. How's he feel about playing Madison? And Phil, I like to ask you, 55-3, the last score. Is that an indication of the difference in those two clubs?
It was just one of those games. I have some thoughts on it, Jim, and I'm going to tell you, particularly after seeing Madison Central last night,
Okay.
I have some very serious thoughts about that game.
Okay, 2nd and 5 for the Barrons at their own 41. Tolko still has it. He's going to be dropped. He'll lose 2 yards.
And that's the way to defense the wishbone. True, that's not Ed Walsh carrying the ball. Greg Rulo on the tackle.
Super tackle by Rulo there.
It'll bring up a 3rd and let's call it 7. Ball now on the Woodbridge 39-yard line.
See Joe Hill coming into the huddle, number 9. Joe Hill is, we've seen him the last few years for Woodbridge, and he's a very capable player. He can hurt you.
See if Woodbridge puts it up in the air. Tolko still has it, keeps. And there's that fullback, just shy of the 1st down, I believe.
Would not be surprised to see Woodbridge go for it.
That's Zedzik.
Already down 14-0.
And Zedzik is short. It'll be 4th and about a yard. Salento is going to go.
And why not? He has nothing to lose. Like to have his team at 500 at this point at least, and
Fullback again. He's still on his feet.
Forte on the tackle. Good thing Brian was there.
Having a little trouble picking up the numbers of Woodbridge. That was number 22, and that was Zedzik again. He looks like a hard runner, Phil.
He is a hard runner. Clinton was pretty honest that these kids aren't the most talented youngsters, and matter of fact, they're somewhat limited, but they do play hard, and he thinks they're going to get better as time goes on.
1st and 10 for Woodbridge. They're in East Brunswick territory at the East Brunswick 43. They trail 14-0. Tolko keeps it, gets outside, and it'll be close to another 1st down for Woodbridge, just shy.
Yeah, had some good yards. By the way, I believe that was Woodbridge's first down this afternoon.
They seem to be getting a little looser, a little more comfortable running the wishbone there. Seem to be settling down, giving it to that fullback a little bit and holding on to it. Tolko, and let's see what happens.
Official timeout.
Phil, what's the philosophy with Forte going all the way at defensive back this afternoon? I don't want to hand you with a tough question, but I thought maybe you might know something I
don't know. The philosophy may be Madison Central. It may be that they're going to put out all the stops. It may be their last game next week, and
so they're just prepping him?
Right. He's an excellent athlete, and he needs to get a little bit more of a feel there. So I think that may have something to do with it. That is their nickel defense. They seem to feel that.
Tolko, that's Zedzik with the ball again, and he'll get back maybe to the line of scrimmage. We're down to 1:10 here in the first period. East Brunswick on top, 14-0.
And as I was saying, that may be a thought. Of course, with Madison being a 90% running offense, Brian just hasn't had a lot of experience in tackling because he hasn't had to do it. Pass defending is something which requires more natural ability, so you can see it there. So I'm not quite sure.
Third and let's call it a long 3 for Woodbridge at the East Brunswick 34. It's a pitch, the ball's on the ground, and I think it's recovered by Tolko.
Recovered by a leg, actually. The ball sort of wedged in between one of the player's legs.
Fumbled by the Woodbridge player, I believe it was number 40, Kevin Gallagher.
And the wishbone offense is a high-risk offense, particularly when you have to pitch that ball. We've sort of lost sight of that because in watching Madison Central, they run it so proficiently that we forget that it is a very dangerous offense.
Yeah, let's see if
And another 4th down.
yeah, let's see if the Barrons elect to go for it or punt.
And that'll end the first period here at East Brunswick High School. The Bears on top, 14-0, and Woodbridge will be facing a 4th and 7 when play resumes.
Don't want to harp upon the fact of inserting Brian in the nickel defense, but I recall last night, Phil, you saw the game too with Madison. Eddie Walsh,
right.
the franchise quarterback for the Spartans, was nailed when he failed to make a fair catch.
Several times.
On a punt. Well, it happened a second time, but that was more confusion than anything else. He was dazed, and as a matter of fact, they brought him to the hospital last night about 12:30 a.m. I understand from talking to Bob DeMarco that Walsh is okay, but I'll tell you what, you lose Eddie Walsh, and Madison's offense just changes dramatically.
Well, you saw that last night when they went backwards, as a matter of fact. It's hard to understand him getting nailed once on a fair catch, but the second time, and the kid actually having to go to the sidelines, you have to wonder.
Well, it's a question I've raised several games this year, why jeopardize injury at this point? But obviously the coaches know what they're doing.
East Brunswick really doing a nice job on the wishbone.
Anyway, Woodbridge will punt on that 4th down. Oh, it's a fake. Got a man outside. They got it. First down, Woodbridge.
And a flag's down, John. Wonder what that is.
Could it be a roughing the passer?
Very possible.
And I tell you, John, the fake is not so surprising at all. Mike Salento, as I said before, has nothing to lose.
Yeah.
You saw him go for a first down. Granted, it was shorter yards down on the 35 or 40-yard line earlier, and why should he change up here?
Yeah, I believe the way they're talking to, it is roughing the passer. Now, I don't know if that's tacked on or whether or not it's an option. Let's see what the officials do.
Decline.
Okay, decline. So they're going to take the first down.
Woodbridge will have it first down as Wysocki, the punter, throws a little pass to Wendelkin, number 44, for the first down. So Woodbridge keeps the drive alive. They trail 14-0, but a score here could certainly turn this game around.
Put them back in it anyway.
First and 10, the ball is on the East Brunswick 24. Tulko keeps it, pitches to Wendelkin around the left side. Puts his head down, and Forte makes the tackle, but not before he picks up 7 yards.
And that was not defensed well. Greg Rulo on the right side was caught in. Yep, and that provided the whole open lane for that ball carrier.
And you see Brian, he's out there and he's on the ball player. It's not your picture book tackling, but again, he hasn't had that much experience tackling. He's an athlete, so he'll be there. But
okay,
against some of the tougher backs, you're going to have to put that shoulder down.
2nd and 3 for Woodbridge. Ball now on the East Brunswick 17. We've just started the second period. And that's going to be movement against East Brunswick. Oh, they're going to charge it against Woodbridge. That Wendelkin took a step forward.
Yeah, Sean Smith jumped over, but he was just reacting to the.
I don't know about that. The young man's allowed to go in motion, and that appeared to be what he was doing.
Well, unless one of the linemen moved for Woodbridge, Phil.
Now Salento wants to know what's going on here.
Yeah, Mike is a little
He's
disappointed.
miffed. The young man went in motion. He's certainly allowed to go in motion. That's what I saw. I don't know if anything else happened, but
You know, I
Now-
wonder why they're even talking to him on the field.
Well, a question, is that a timeout charge to Woodbridge for that?
I wonder if they will. Let's see. Yes.
It
You
is.
got it, John. By Salento walking on the field, they are charged with a timeout. Mike Salento, if you remember him, was the coach at Perth Amboy last year and did a wonderful job resurrecting the program for the Panthers. I think they had one of their first winning seasons in quite a long while. But Salento is a former Woodbridge Township resident, and I think he still lives there, played for him, and when the job opened up, he took it.
Came back home.
The official did the right thing. Of course, the official could have called his official timeout to talk to Salento, but Salento had walked out on the field. But I tell you, last night in the Madison Central Colonia game, Madison Central scored a touchdown with Bob DeMarco about 15 yards in on the field.
I knew you were going to bring that up.
It was amazing, and it wasn't called. Did you see it, Jimmy?
Yes, I did, and I have to tell you, Bob DeMarco is one of the biggest abusers of going beyond the 30-yard line. There is a rule in football, high school football anyway, that a coach is not allowed to, never mind not going on the field, but not going beyond the 30 of either side.
It wasn't close, John. He was almost in the middle of the field. They didn't call it.
Well, if it, yeah, okay.
And they scored a touchdown on it.
All right, so with all the fireworks all said and done, it'll be 2nd and 8 for Woodbridge now on the East Brunswick 22 following the penalty. Tolko keeps it, still on his feet. He's got Trent to get around. That's going to be a tough order as Ramon pulls him down.
Yeah, but he's got his first down.
No, he doesn't.
Let's see where they mark it. They're going to bring the chains across.
Okay. I mentioned Saraville, gentlemen. I'll tell you what, having lived in Saraville for a number of years, and the Bombers had not had a winning season, 68, put themselves in a position of being able to finish 5-4 by having beaten Perth Amboy 23-13 last night. That means that if they can beat Monroe Township 2-4-1 on Thanksgiving Day, Saraville will finish 5-4. And I'll tell you what, if the elections were being held now, Sal Mistretta, the first-year coach, could be elected the mayor.
We have another football player walking into East Brunswick Stadium right now. You look familiar to you, Jimmy?
Well, let's see now. Is that?
Well, Jimmy and I are up here, so it can't be one of us.
Drew Pearson.
Son of a gun.
First and 10 for Woodbridge. They get it.
Snuck in.
This is 33. That's Paperi. And he gets to the line of scrimmage. It'll be 2nd and 10.
And the East Brunswick defense will be called on now to make its first stand of this afternoon. They've done the job pretty well, but Woodbridge is sort of poking through and then slowly moving down the field.
We have 10:05 left here in the second period. East Brunswick on top 14-0. A long drive for Woodbridge, but they've got a ways to go yet. The ball is on the East Brunswick 15, and they face a 2nd and 10. Tulko looks to put it up in the air. Does. Over the middle.
Ooh.
Intercepted by Trent
Sure, that's a
in
touchdown.
the end zone.
Great play by Ramon.
Just a good recovery. The man actually had a step on Ramon, and Ramon made a super recovery. Caught the ball as he catches it on offense with nothing but hands.
Which is why I maintain if no one is interested in this young man as a wide receiver, he can play defensive back. He really has the reaction, speed, hands, ability to hit, make the hit, and I'll tell you what, he's just a prime player.
Did we see someone faster than Ramon last night? Or
Are
not?
you talking about Dandridge?
Dandridge,
for
his
Colonia?
kid for Colonia?
Leonard Dandridge.
Unbelievable.
All right, East Brunswick takes over on the interception on their own 20, 1st and 10, and a Woodbridge drive is snuffed out. Trent to the right. Forte looking for him, being pressured, steps up and throws it for DeVito, but over his head, and a flag is thrown.
Number 22 on number 22. Clearly interference.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, the official in the front, though, didn't call it.
He might be saying the ball wasn't catchable. Let's see here.
Nope,
It's
gonna be
called
false.
against Ziedzik, number 22 for Woodbridge.
Forte, 3 for 3 thus far in the passing department.
First down, East Brunswick on the penalty.
John, I'll tell you why Phil is so excited about Colonia. That was the one team this year that has been able to stop Madison's wishbone, and it's got him inspired now.
I tell you, there's hope. There's truly hope. I have a different perspective.
All right, Trent to the right. Greenberg to the left. Forte fakes to Goldstein, looking over the middle. Throws it, and ball was looking for Potter.
Wow, this got to be.
Potter was tackled.
Potter was tackled before there. Brian runs up to the official and said, "What's going on?" And, and it hasn't been called. Incredible.
Well, regardless of whether it was an incomplete pass, that marked the second time that they went to the tight end as a primary receiver. That's interesting.
Jimmy, you mentioned Colonia, and I had the opportunity to watch the Colonia freshmen play, and they have a young man they call LT, who I don't know where Dandridge is in terms of if he's a senior or not, but LT looks quite capable of stepping in and helping that team. So a lot of speed. Anyway, this is Goldstein, and he'll fall forward for a yard.
I think the reason why the Patriots are excited about Dandridge, he is a junior, by the way. He ran for 300 yards about 3 weeks ago. I don't know who the opponent was, but Phil's right. He ran back a kickoff.
Lightning.
He has a lot of speed.
Superb.
So East Brunswick facing a 3rd and about 9 from their own 36, and Forte will go into that shotgun formation. Greenberg to the left, Trent to the right. A little dump over, looking for a screen with Trent.
Never really had a chance to develop.
I'll tell you what they will come back to. Joey DeVito flared out of the backfield there.
He was
Nobody picked him up, and they got to come back to that a little bit later.
So it'll bring up 4th down for the Bears. And I think East Brunswick was lucky, too. They had linemen about 10 yards downfield. Forte is the punter. Hill will go back with, I believe it's Ziedzik. Forte gets a high kick.
Great punt.
Ziedzik at his own 15.
Boy,
DeVito's right there.
Nice. He played it nice.
DeVito and Goldstein bring him down.
Didn't go for the fake.
So Woodbridge, with 8:41 to go, will try to get something moving. They had a long drive only to have it sniffed out by an interception by Ramon Trent. And they'll start again from their own 20.
I like that play on words, sniffed out by Ramon Trent. He's actually...
We're having fun here today, I can tell.
Phil's having fun. Tolko brings him out, number 11. That's Ziedzik. I'm sorry, Tolko kept it. I got taken by the fake. And he picks up a little better than 5 yards.
If we have an opportunity, we'll talk about the boys and girls soccer teams.
Lou Koza, 200 victories. Amazing.
He has some quality players. They have qualified for Monday's, I believe they're going to be playing Notre Dame in the South Jersey Group 4 final.
2nd and 5 for Woodbridge on their own 25. Tuchel hands off this time. I believe it is Ziedzik, number 22.
Tomorrow being Sunday, the Lady Bears will be playing, I believe, North Brunswick for the GMC final. Ever since the inception of the Greater Middlesex Conference, East Brunswick has always won the title, and that is not, I'll tell you what, that is not an easy task.
Woodbridge facing a 3rd and 3 from their 27. Inside, close to the first down goes Ziedzik.
Get the first down, John.
And they got it, yeah.
We should mention the boys soccer team, although they were defeated by Hamilton East yesterday.
Heartbreaker.
In the Central Jersey Group 4 final, will still be playing. I'm sorry, it was Howell Township. Will be still involved in their GMC final, and that will be against St. Joseph.
That could be a good game,
Yeah,
Jim.
they have split the games this year between those two teams.
Clock running. First and 10 for the Barrons on their own 31. They trail 14-0 here in the second period. Straight dive play. Wendelkin, and he looks like a tough one to pull down, Phil.
He is tough.
Big boy.
I think the Bears are just going to have to buckle down now, and it appears that Woodbridge is not going to do too much more except try to penetrate the middle. And I think East Brunswick should probably take some chances, try to shore up the middle, and just shut this running game down.
Wendelkin picks up 6, so it's 2nd and 4. Woodbridge has it on their own 37. 5:50 to go, second period. This is Ziedzik, and he'll be short of the first down. Bring up a 3rd and about 1. Oh, they give it to him. His forward motion crosses over.
Boy, that's close.
I tell you, you're going to look for the Bears to get a little bit tougher here. I mean, I think they have to assert themselves. And again, they have to take one game at a time and play this game. But I'm looking for signs that they will be ready for next week.
Oh, yeah.
So they give Woodbridge the first down. And again, Woodbridge starts to mount a drive. Wendelkin dropped by Mark Harmon at the 45-yard line.
Yeah, Harmon came up on that. Nice.
Pickup of 3.
That could have gone a little bit further. Mark, one of the hardest hitters on the team.
No, without a doubt.
And predictably, a rather sedate crowd this afternoon.
2nd and 7 now for the Barrons on their own 45. Tulko keeps it and gets back to the line of scrimmage, bringing up a 3rd and 7.
When I mean predictable, I better qualify that one. This game really means little except for another win in the East Brunswick column, which is important, and there are other reasons which we discussed already, but Madison Central has clinched the Red Division Championship. East Brunswick can not do any better than finish 2nd. So the game, other than for pride and for a win, just really doesn't have a lot of significance.
Mark Rulo in on a good tackle that last play.
Woodbridge now facing 3rd and long yardage. Their last pass was intercepted, a little pitch back.
Oh, he got a nice block.
And he's got some running room. And taken down finally, but not after he gets into East Brunswick territory.
And I tell you, give Mark Harmon credit there. Brian Forte made the initial hit, but Mark Harmon came up to seal it.
With some couple good blocks down here that sprung that ball carrier.
Paperi is the ball carrier, number 33. First down, Woodbridge.
And I'll tell you what, this drive is consuming a lot of time. We got less than 4 minutes.
Under 4 minutes, 1st and 10 for Woodbridge at the East Brunswick 24. Ziedzik in the middle, hit hard. Picks up possibly a yard. Let's see where they spot it. He may have even lost a yard. As everyone on piles, we'll see.
Rulo on the tackle, and Mark Harmon coming over the top with reckless abandon. He didn't make the tackle, but he's really giving up the body.
They give Ziedzik a yard, so let's call it 2nd and 9. Tulko still has it.
And
Joe goes
Hankins,
down.
Sorry, that wasn't Joe Hankins.
That's Mark Rulo again.
Yeah, Rulo made that tackle.
Rulo playing an excellent game today.
Down to 2:30.
Phil, you talked about the fullback and the way to defense this play. Maybe you can show me at least. I need to be educated on how the wishbone is defensed on a play.
Well, basically, as I said before, you got to be able to stand up to fullback. I'll tell you after this.
Okay. Well, we can keep our eyes on number 44 there for the fullback.
3rd down for Woodbridge, another big 3rd down. Tulko drops back, being pressured by Smith, gets away, puts it up in the air. It's going to be picked off by Brian Forte at about the 5-yard line. So 2 drives now, stopped by interceptions.
And that ball was just put up
Well,
for
just
grabs.
put up. I asked Mike Salento about his passing game. He just said, quite frankly, we don't have much of a passing game at all. And that's pretty clear.
So the Bears will get it back with 1:58 to go here, second period. They lead 14-0. Ball spotted at the East Brunswick 6.
So, minute 58, I'll tell you what, the Bears are going to have to not waste any time. See if they can tuck one in here before halftime.
Trent and Charleston come to the left. Goldstein, flags thrown. Goldstein gets back to the line of scrimmage.
Regardless, if the penalty is against East Brunswick, if I was Woodbridge, I'd refuse it.
Holding against the Bears. It'll be half the distance to the goal.
Half the distance would only be about 2.5 yards.
And while they're marking off this penalty, we want to remind you at halftime we'll have the East Brunswick High School band, but in addition we'll have a special feature on the high school varsity cheerleaders. We think you'll enjoy it, and we hope you stay tuned with us during halftime to see that feature.
Phil, what do you think about accepting that call?
Half the distance to the goal.
3 yards.
They figure they're going to move regardless.
That just gives East Brunswick another down to work with.
1st and 13 now with 1:37 left on the clock. Forte looks over the middle, now sprints to his right, looking for Trent. He's got him.
Woo.
Trent trying to cut
Oh,
upfield
mercy.
and gets to the 30. It's first down East Brunswick. That'll stop the clock while they move the chains.
I'll tell you, one dip in and out, and Trent is gone.
26-yard gain on that play, and quite honestly, I didn't understand the wisdom of accepting that penalty.
All right, we're ready to go. 1st and 10, the ball at the East Brunswick 30. Forte in shotgun. Has some time, looks over the middle for Charleston, overthrown. That'll stop the clock with 1:10.
Forte with 75 yards, I believe, on 4-4-7 passing.
2nd and 10 for the Bears. Again, shotgun. Trent and Greenberg to the right. Forte will sprint to his right. Sets, looks, got time, sprints back to his left.
Oh, this is great. This is
Good
great.
block there.
Good block.
This is excellent.
And he's going to run with it and will step out of bounds, stops the clock at the 45-yard line, just shy of it.
You talk about presence of mind as a quarterback. Forte flushed out of the pocket, goes right, just stands there and just totally relaxed, sees no receiver. Then he decides to sprint to the left and gains, what, about 15 yards?
And a first down.
Gosh, that's just a tremendous play.
First down, East Brunswick. 53 seconds left here in the second period. The Bears on top, 14-0. Back in that shotgun formation. Same setup as the last play. Brian has plenty of time, looks across. He's got Charleston.
Ooh.
Charleston drops it.
Never was quite able to get his hands secure on the ball.
It's how you turn your hands, Jimmy. It's just not a matter of
Yep.
putting your hands up there. You have to read how the ball's coming and turn your hand a certain way.
2nd and 10, 47 seconds left.
Well, I'm sure the Bears would at least like to get into field goal position. Give Danny Levine a try.
Woodbridge playing a double zone. Goldstein on the draw off the
got
shotgun. Crosses midfield.
Bears will call a timeout here.
I think he's short of the first down.
No, the clock does not stop.
Here we go, 37 seconds. 3rd and about 2 for East Brunswick. Forte will roll. He's got the whole right side. There's no one there. Cut back to midfield.
And welcome to the Brian Forte Show, folks.
He needs a block. He gets it from DeVito again. Forte's going to go in for another score.
And a sliding.
There's a flag.
Oh, probably Forte realizes it.
They may have called a clip on DeVito. Didn't get his head in front of the
Well, but I tell you had DeVito and Ramon
defender.
Trent blocking the same guy. It appeared, I don't know, DeVito got a good block, but turned the man sort of into Trent, and Trent may have got an illegal piece. I don't know.
Well, they're going to mark it off from that spot, it looks like.
19-second show on the clock.
So the Bears will still get a first down out of this.
It is a clip against East Brunswick. It'll bring the ball back to the Woodbridge 44-yard line.
I tell you, you hate to see it, but you got to like the principle, the fact that they're doing all this downfield blocking. It's something that we haven't seen, quite frankly. And they're conscious of it, and that's what you got to do to win ball games. Picking up backers, blocking safeties and cornerbacks downfield. That's all part of the game, and they're doing that more now than any time of the year, so it's a good sign.
Okay, I don't remember East Brunswick taking any timeouts, or at least using them all up. And Forte, more than anything, dove for sake of exhaustion back there. He's really tired after a couple of long runs here. But apparently the Bears are not electing to use the timeouts.
Well, they have 19 seconds.
And I think Brian should try to get the ball at least into the within the 30-yard line and give Levine a shot.
He's in that shotgun formation. Stands straight in the pocket and thrown deep down for Trent. Trent, oh, what a great defensive play by Hunt.
It's Joe Hill with a
rather.
super
Yeah,
play.
Great play.
A super pass. Trent moving towards the ball, moving on the ball, had a beam right on it, and Joe Hill stuck a hand in there, just perfect time, and a great defensive play.
And if we can pan back to Forte, he's down on one knee, and again, he is really tired.
Well, don't forget, too, he's been playing defense. So East Brunswick will have a 2nd and 10. That's really immaterial at this point. They're working against the clock. 12 seconds. Ball on the Woodbridge 44. And Trent and Charleston will go to the right. This may be a time to look for your tight end up the middle. Forte's going to go up the middle with the ball.
Gotta get to the sidelines.
He's taken down.
And
Clock's down to 5 seconds. 4. And a timeout.
All right, Levine is probably going to step in here now. And we're going to have ourselves
Super Dan.
a field goal kick. Let's pace it back 7 yards from that spot, the 32. So probably about a 50-yarder, John, and that would be a record.
All right.
Oh, you would love it. You would love it.
We're seeing it all today.
I would like to see it. I really would. And if you look at the flag, it's motionless, so wind probably is not a factor here.
And it's timeout for the Bears, and the story bears repeating. Dan Levine has been a somewhat of a story this year. For 2 years, he labored behind the super Josh Miller. He did it quietly, practiced as well. I'm sure he picked up some things as well, and waited for his time to come. And when his time came, he was ready. And he is. I can't imagine anyone being more consistent than Dan Levine is. As I said, Gil Gutierrez is back with St. John Vianney, and I don't know what type of year Gil Gutierrez is having, but he's supposed to be a super kicker. He was the all-state kicker last year, but someone would be hard-pressed to do better than Dan Levine has done this year, and he's just one of the most likable kids on the team as well.
Yeah. After the game last week, he ran up to us and he says, make sure you put a plug in for my holder or in Greenberg.
And he has done a fine job.
Yeah. But we talked about Dave Goldstein needing 100 yards. Already Forte has 124 yards on 5 carries.
All right, let's set this up. The ball is spotted on the Woodbridge 40. This will be a 50-yard attempt with 4 seconds to go. Dan Levine, the snap is down. The kick is up. Does it have enough? It's curving to the left, and it'll be short.
No legs.
And that will end the first half here from J. Doyle Field. The Bears on top, 14-0. And we remind you again to stay tuned for the East Brunswick High School Bears and our special feature on the East Brunswick High School varsity cheerleaders. Hi, I'm with East Brunswick High School varsity cheerleader coach Debbie London. Debbie, the sport of cheerleading, and I call it a sport because I think it is, has really evolved over the years. Tell us a little bit about what these girls go through.
Well, we start our season in August, and when I bring them to cheerleading camp for 5 days, which is very intense. They start at 8 o'clock in the morning, and they go through till 9 o'clock in the evening with only about a 2.5-hour break in between, learning all new cheers, pyramids, and various stunts that they do. And then once school starts, we start practicing every day. I bring them through a program that incorporates aerobics, weightlifting, running, to keep them fit. Obviously, like you said, it is a sport, so therefore they work out as though any other sport would. Then we start our game situation, and in between the games, we have practices as much as possible during the week.
Debbie, I know that the cheerleaders actually try out twice a year. When are those tryouts, and who's qualified to try out?
Okay, I have my first tryout at the end of the year in April, and that is for the fall season, which starts in September, which is football season and soccer season. And as a matter of fact, our second tryout is occurring this Monday, and that is for all of the winter sports, which is basketball season. It's a nice situation because a lot of the girls are involved in sports, so therefore when the sport is through, then they can try for cheerleading for the second half of the year and vice versa.
Okay, as a parent, looking and having a daughter who's interested in cheerleading, what are some of the things that you look for in terms of determining whether they should be a cheerleader?
Well, obviously, I have to have my girls very fit. There's a certain criteria that we follow that has to be, it's very, very difficult in a sense. The girls, I need them to be obviously very spirited, very enthusiastic. There's a certain criteria that we follow with stunts that have to be performed, a dance that has to be performed, a cheer that is taught to them, and a cartwheel and little stunt activities such as that.
I also understand that beyond just cheering for the high school, there's some outside competition.
Oh, there sure is, and the girls love that especially. We get sent various things I get sent various things in the mail. There's competitions all over the state. There's one that we competed in at the camp that we went to. And the girls just love the atmosphere. I mean, not necessarily to go and win, of course, that's the major thing that we want to do, but just the whole atmosphere of the competition. The girls are so warm to one another. All the different squads from all over the state are excellent.
Well, Debbie, you've done a super job with these young ladies, and they are a major part of the football experience, the wrestling experience, the basketball experience, soccer, and so forth. We're so glad that they are part of the scenery. Good luck to you and the girls the rest of the year.
Thank you very much.
Why don't we take a moment now and meet the girls?
Hi.
Ladies, you just step forward. You are?
I'm Blair Willard. I'm a senior.
Okay.
Shal Hill, senior.
That's Phil Hill's daughter.
I am Morris Wilkowski, and I'm a senior.
Renee Galdieri, senior. Jennifer Zaski, sophomore.
Teresa Toto, senior.
Wendy Rosenthal, junior.
Jennifer Lucas, sophomore.
Lauren Davis, junior.
Tracy Meggiolaro, senior.
Linda Sorrentino, senior.
Okay, and that's some of the East Brunswick High School varsity cheerleaders. Let's step back a moment now and watch a cheer. Joining me now is the voice of East Brunswick High School football, George Pinfield. George, you've been around this scene a long time now. You're up in the booth doing the announcing. You still have that flair for the game.
I just couldn't get away from it. In fact, if I was able to be out here, I would be. If I had 2 good hits, I'd still be coaching.
George, you were a coach here for years with the teams. What has changed in your perspective? You've seen a lot of players come and go.
Well, I think things are more sophisticated now. The kids are stronger. They're bigger. We had some big teams, but with all the programs of weightlifting and so on and so forth, it's better. We're getting better.
Your new avocation of announcing, I know it isn't easy, but it keeps you kind of part of the game.
It does. I look forward to it all the time. When I walk up there and I look out at the kids, I still have that twinge in my heart, and I wish I was down there with them.
George, being at the high school, education is obviously an important part of anyone's development, but so are sports, and I know you and I have discussed this for a number of years now.
It's true. I've felt that it has to go hand in hand. Many of the young people out here, if they didn't have sports, they probably wouldn't get an education. And I think people have to realize that. Sports is just, they say it's extracurricular, but to me it's co-curricular. It really is.
Well, there's no doubt about where George Pinfield's heart is, particularly here at East Brunswick High School. George, thanks for being with me.
Thank you very much.
Well, welcome back to the second half of the East Brunswick-Woodbridge game. Temperature's getting a little bit nippier out here, but the sun is still on the field for the most part. Jim, I know you have the stats from Bill Munyon.
Yes, I do, and pretty much one-sided. East Brunswick holding a 14-0 lead. In first downs, the Bears had 11, while Woodbridge was able to get 6. Rushing yardage, 157 yards, primarily due to Brian Forte, who ran the ball 6 times for 127 yards. Goldstein had 7 carries for 30 yards, so he still needs 70 yards to eclipse that 100 to become the all-time single-season rusher for East Brunswick. Hope he gets it this half. Passing-wise, Forte, as we've mentioned, was 4 for 9. He has 68 yards, no interceptions, and East Brunswick was able to secure 2 interceptions. One was by Trent, the other one by Forte. Brian was able to get off a 47-yarder to maintain his punting average, and the Bears were penalized 23 yards, and Woodbridge was penalized 20. Ramon Trent, 3 receptions for 52 yards. Potter had the other one for 16 yards, and I believe that'll do it.
Okay, thank you, Jimmy. East Brunswick will kick off to start this second half. And Phil, you know, one thing about Woodbridge, they had 2 long drives deep into East Brunswick territory, and both times East Brunswick came up with an interception to stop those drives.
And, it's clear, as Salento said, they're not a good passing team, and they put that ball up there. If anything, I think they should have come with shorter, more definite passes than putting that ball up there with the tremendous athletes that East Brunswick has back there defensively. You got Ramon Trent and Brian Forte playing back there now. That ball's going to be snatched off. So they hurt themselves. They really did.
All right. Woodbridge will come out. They'll receive. They need to get something going. They trail 14-0 as we start the third period, using that wishbone offense. And as we said at the opening of the game, a great opportunity for East Brunswick to be defensing, actually playing again against a wishbone team, since for all practical purposes, we understand East Brunswick will be opening up the first round of the playoffs at Madison Central against the Spartans, and everyone knows what they can do.
Right. I talked to Bob DeMarco at halftime, Madison Central coach, asked him what's he going to do to get his team up for East Brunswick. He says that he doesn't have to get them up. It's a state championship playoff, so they'll be ready.
Shouldn't be a problem. Shouldn't be a problem at all.
Jimmy, what are the 4 teams in the state tournament in that grouping? Maybe we can get to that after this kickoff.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Dan Levine to kick it off, start the third period. Low kick, it'll bounce around. It's going to be picked up by Veras, number 88. And he brings it back across the Woodbridge 30.
A little bit of over pursuit there by the Bears front line. Pairings for the Central Jersey Group 4. There are 4 groups in New Jersey. North Jersey Section A, Section B, Central Jersey, South Jersey. Central Jersey Group 4, Madison Central has been assured the top seed. Second and third, I believe at this point, is Middletown South and Manalapan. The Bears have the 4th seed as it stands now.
Okay, the Barrons, 1st and 10 on their own 32. Tulko is the quarterback, number 11. He still has it. He's going to be dropped for a loss, a big loss.
Busted play.
I'll tell you, Tom Joe Hinkins in on that tackle, along with number 45, Todd Pichar.
Woodbridge, having mild success running the wishbone in the first half, was able to get 68 yards. And as we have seen time and again, East Brunswick analyzes the situation, makes adjustments at halftime, and usually does a good job at shutting down what they had given up in the first half.
A loss of 3. It'll be 2nd and 13 for the Barrons, now on their own 28. And they are not a good passing team. Tulko hands it off to Zidzik in the middle. Zidzik gets to the 30. Hack on the tackle. So Woodbridge faces a 3rd and about 11 now. And the Barrons with a wishbone offense down by 14 points. It could be a little a little bit difficult for him.
Excellent point, John. The wishbone isn't a type of offense that is meant to play catch-up ball. You need to be out in front and controlling it. Mike Salento wanted to control the ball today. He hasn't done it.
Here we go, 3rd and 11. And Tulko will drop back, sets up a little screen out to Hill. Hill gets by one East Brunswick tackler and is going to be tackled from behind. A pickup of 4 yards, but it'll bring up a punting situation for Woodbridge.
Yeah, Duano had his hands wrapped around the ball carrier, the pass receiver, but East Brunswick's secondary coming up to do the job.
All right, Rulo and Pazinko in on that tackle.
Pretty good first series for the Bear defense.
We expect to see Wyzakowski doing the punting. And he'll go into punt formation. Trent and Harmon back for the Bears. Good high kick. Trent feels it, drops the ball.
Ooh.
Harmon drops the ball, and it's recovered by Woodbridge. So East Brunswick's first turnover gives Woodbridge the opportunity deep in their own territory.
And you know what happened there? Ramon Trent was getting ready to do that reverse before he even had possession of the ball.
I think you're right. He was going to fake it. I don't believe he was going to give it off to Harmon. We haven't seen that all year, though. This is the first time. So let's see how the defense recovers.
Woodbridge will have it on the East Brunswick 34, 1st and 10. Tulko going down the line with it, keeps it. And Joe Hankins wrestles him down from behind.
That was Rulo, I believe, John.
Okay, number 55.
Right.
Great job.
.8:25 left here in the 3rd period. Let's call that 2nd and 9 for Woodbridge. Ball on the East Brunswick 33.
There's Joe Hankins, John.
And he lifts him and drops him.
Yeah, he liked that.
Tom Joe Hankins.
Piperi was the ball carrier, and it looked like a body slam in wrestling. Bring up a 3rd down in about 9.
Well, what does Woodbridge do here?
And they go out of that wishbone formation, more to a pro set. As Tulko drops. Looks for a man, he's got Hill, and Hill drops the ball. It would have been a 1st down.
And Brian Forte made him pay for it regardless. The ball hit off Joe Hill's hands, and Brian Forte laid one on him anyway.
Yeah, he's wired, no doubt about it.
Well, he's been in there all game defensively, Jimmy, as you pointed out earlier, and apparently it's a decision that's been made, and like I said, there's not many tomorrow, so why not?
Well, I know Brian wants to finish out his career here at East Brunswick with a nice showing.
Hill had the 1st down, and he just dropped the ball. So Woodbridge on 4th down looks like they'll go for it, and why not? They go back to that pro set. Hill in the slot this time, to the right. And Tulko will drop straight back, being pressured, puts it up for Hill. Hill just can't get it, just out of the reach of his arms. So the Bears will take over 1st and 10 with 7:20 to go, 3rd period.
Good pass rush by Joe Hankins and Sean Smith.
And good defensive coverage by Mark Harmon, even though Hill did have a half a step on him.
First and 10 for East Brunswick on their own 33.
Bears' first opportunity.
They'll send Trent and Greenberg to the right. I formation. Goldstein going outside left. And he'll pick up 6 yards, 7 yards on the carry.
The official grabbing Goldstein, telling him to stop some of the extracurricular talking. I think Goldstein probably was saying something positive to the kid. I don't know. He's closer than I.
And we're going to keep a watch on Dave Goldstein now. That was 8-yard gain. We'll give him.
2nd and 2 for the Bears at their own 40. Fake to Goldstein. Forte has it. Has some time. Looks over the middle. He's got Charleston. Charleston.
Ooh, good move.
Crosses midfield.
Ooh.
Drops the shoulder and goes out at the Woodbridge 45-yard line.
You like that one, didn't you, Phil?
I like that. Brett Charleston taking the ball in with nothing but hands, doing some fine runnings, a few dip, and then finished it off with a shoulder to the would-be tackler.
First down, East Brunswick.
That's Charleston's first catch this afternoon.
Here's Goldstein. Slips and goes down at the line of scrimmage. It'll bring up 2nd and 10 now for the Bears.
Mike Diallo blowing somebody out on that side. He had 2 guys that he blew back.
Well, I'm glad to see Phil Miller, 68, playing. He was down for a prolonged period last week with an ankle injury, but doesn't seem to be bothered.
If you just joined us, East Brunswick got on the board first. Brian Forte with a 55-yard run, followed by Dave Goldstein from 1 yard out. As Forte looks, he's got plenty of time over the middle, and Trent drops it right in his hands.
Yeah, but I have to think the sun was bothering him.
Not only the sun, the trajectory of the ball was changed because it was tipped by a Woodbridge defender as well.
Okay.
So 3rd and about 11 for East Brunswick.
Phil Bryan looks sharp throwing the ball this half.
He does. He's had more time than he's had in recent memory. And
we know as long as Brian Forte gets time.
And I tell you, if he can get time, he could be dangerous.
Dangerous is the word.
Watching Colonia last night, they had time.
Shotgun formation. Trent and Greenberg to the right. Again, time for Brian. Now he needs to scramble. Gets away.
Boy, Potter's open.
He's waving downfield. There's Potter. He makes a catch. First down, East Brunswick. Dave Potter.
Great passing, great catch, good concentration.
Just a super catch by David Potter, and
that's one of the finest catches he's had all year.
And Dave Potter has been coming on the last few games. He's been getting to see more action, and you just have to wonder where he's been all year. I hate to say it because it stirs up stuff, but you have to wonder why he hasn't been utilized more.
First down, East Brunswick at the 31 of Woodbridge. They're on the move, 5:32 to go, 3rd period. Bears on top, 14-0. Goldstein following DeVito's block. He'll pick up 2 yards.
And to answer my own question, rhetorical question, is one of the reasons perhaps that Dave Potter or any tight end hasn't been used more, because you need to keep the tight end in order to block, to keep some of the pressure off.
Sure do.
Off Brian Forte, and he's had a lot of pressure this year, so maybe that's one of the reasons, John.
I'll tell you what, I was watching that pattern run by Dave Potter. He went down, he was leveled, but got up and made the pass reception.
I don't think John believes me.
They give Goldstein 3 at 2nd and 7. Forte still has it. Looks to the outside for Greenberg, right in his hands. And he's taken out at the 10-yard line.
And now the Bears are opening up the offense.
I'll tell you, Brian Forte did a nice deftly fake and just nicely put it up there. I'll tell you, probably Brian Forte misses Jerry Janczek more than anybody on this East Brunswick team. Jerry Janczek was the quarterback coach, and it's those little things that make a big difference in a quarterback, and I think Brian has missed them more than anybody.
All right, East Brunswick has it 1st and goal at the Woodbridge 9. They have Trent and Charleston to the right. Here's DeVito.
Boy, that's...
And DeVito gallops his way for 3 yards.
I think that's the first time he's carried the ball this afternoon.
Well, you said he'd rather block than run, so maybe they're following through on it.
And Joey's limping a little bit, and that ankle has been giving him a problem now for about 2 years.
Well, it's almost like if we didn't see Joey limp, we'd be surprised.
Dave Goldstein needing 59 yards. I'm just keeping a running tab here,
What's
gentlemen.
this, the Goldstein watch here, Jimmy?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Well, they give DeVito 4. Let's call it 2nd and goal. They need about 5 yards for the score. Forte will roll right.
Oh, look at Trent.
Looking. He throws it over the middle. There it is. Touchdown, Greenberg, East Brunswick.
Nice pass, nice catch. Nice blocking.
Nice everything, huh? One of the more impressive drives overall for East Brunswick this season, I'll have to say. They mixed it up with passing, throwing, and running on the part of Dave Goldstein, Joe DeVito. Beautiful pass routes, excellent blocking by the offensive line. Did we miss anything?
I tell you, they're coming on, Jimmy, and I like what I see. And
well, with DeMarco here, I think that drive right has to worry him a little bit. That was executed very, very nicely.
Levine now for the 21st point. And he's got it. So the Bears working on a shutout, 21-0.
And I tell you, this may be as good a time as any, Jim, to answer your question. You saw Madison Central last night. I saw Madison Central. We both know they're entitled to have a game that may not be so on, but they looked very human last night. Colonia played them very well. I thought Madison Central certainly got the benefit of the officiating that occurred. They got some really good calls going their way last night. They can be passed on, and I think if the Bears are really pumped up, able to move the ball on first down, doing what they have to do with downfield blocking and following through on their assignments, it's going to be a good game.
Go ahead, Phil.
It's going to be a good game. I know it's hard to believe, but I think it's going to be a good game.
I agree with you. I think I was down on the sidelines, and I was very close to the Madison players. And when Eddie Walsh took that shot on a punt return, he didn't call a fair catch. It was like the wind was just sucked out of the players. They almost said, gosh, we're vulnerable.
Levine, a beautiful kickoff high. Berries will take it at the 4-yard line. Goes up the middle with it. And crosses the 25.
And Warren Greenberg on the tackle. Warren being very active today.
Having a good game. But to pick up on what you said about, East Brunswick's possibilities next week, Madison Central did seem a little suspect, and they were virtually involved the first time this year that they were involved in a game where it was close. And it was interesting to see how they reacted.
And they reacted like champs, but they may have peaked with that last East Brunswick game. They haven't been as sharp since.
3:30 to go here, third period. Bears on top, 21-0, as Woodbridge has a 1st and 10 on their own 27. Zizik inside. He'll pick up 2.
And one of the problems with a wishbone offense is when you get behind by a 21-0 score, the predictability really limits you in what you can do.
And if you don't have a passer at all, you're really in trouble.
One thing I'd like to see, aside from all the action going on, is should East Brunswick get up with another score quickly, that some of these seniors get in the game, this being their last home game. And I think Marcus Borden will do that.
I'd like to see Goldstein get his 100th, though.
Tulko looking to throw the ball is going to be wrestled down by Hack. Actually thrown down is a better description.
And we are seeing East Brunswick now slowly and steadily build its emotion, and I think this is exactly what Borden wants the team to do. They're really playing with a lot of confidence now, and I'll tell you what, it just makes things a lot more interesting for this upcoming week.
I think it's going to be very interesting. They certainly, I tell you this here, they're fortunate to have the opportunity. Not many teams get the opportunity to get back and play better.
3rd down and about 9 for the Barrons as Tulko rolls left.
Here comes Sean.
Sean Smith misses him, and Tulko will be tripped up by Rulo.
Great open field tackle. Quarterback was headed for a 1st down, certainly. Rulo diving and preventing the 1st down. Woodbridge is going to have to kick, John.
So a 4th down for the Barrons. Ball on their own 32. This is Piperia now doing the punting. Gets off a kick. Harmon will field it. Off his hands, picks it up.
Trent
rather, and he slips down just short of the 30.
That's the 3rd time Trent has sort of gone to his knees prematurely. I don't know.
Well, he didn't want to take any chances.
Well, I don't know if it's the footing or what.
He just didn't feel that he needed to take the hit.
All right, so East Brunswick will start off 1st and 10 just shy of their own 30-yard line. They lead 21-0 with 1:07 to go here in the third period. Trent and Charleston to the right, I formation, DeVito and Goldstein, and that's Goldstein. And he snakes his way for about 4 yards. Let's give him 5 and call it 2nd and 5. 40 seconds now in the third period. And as we mentioned, we will be traveling next week to Madison Central High School for the first round of the New Jersey State Group 4 playoffs, Central Jersey. Forte looking over the middle. He's got his man,
Ooh.
and it's dropped. That's,
Whoa! That's a late hit.
That's a late hit.
Yes.
Venu Bandaru, number 4.
I'll tell you what happened. This kid, what's his name?
Bandaru.
Vandaro got nailed twice. First, he got nailed with the ball thrown by Brian Forte, a hard bullet to the chest. The defender being shielded, the ball being between the defender and the young man, thought he had the ball and nailed him after. So he got nailed twice.
Certainly was open.
It'll be a personal foul against Woodbridge. It'll give East Brunswick a first down.
Venu Bandaro, he's all right, though.
And I noticed some players coming in. Bandaro, one of those seniors we introduced at the start of the game. And I believe number 24 is in as well. That's John Pressman. He'll go out wide right.
Pressman has seen some action this year.
He and Charleston are to the right. This is Goldstein. Goldstein will pick up close to 3 yards.
Now, Dave just hasn't been able to break for that long gainer that we have seen this year. But I think that the coaches are aware of his situation down there and are giving him the ball.
I don't think they care one way or another.
And gentlemen, that'll end the third period. So at the end of 3 from J. Doyle Field, it's East Brunswick 21, Woodbridge nothing. And as they switch over, we go to the last 12 minutes of this game.
I think
12 minutes of the regular season, actually.
I think the only people involved in the Goldstein March are his dad and you, Jimmy. I don't think the coach is scared whether he picks up another 100 yards or not.
I guess being the statistical person that I am, I enjoy seeing records broken. And what, just as a little side note, I think what better way to make a, okay, go ahead.
I just want to point out this exercise being done by the cheerleaders spelling out bears.
Is that what that is? Okay.
No.
Sorry, Jim, I cut you off.
That's okay. No,
I'll tell you, John, seriously, you talk about the cheerleaders, and you know as well as I do, nobody works as hard as they do. I think this week alone, the number of games that they had to cheer at was just practically impossible. I think it might have been like 4 or 5 different times this week, and that's pretty tough.
Credit to the quality of the East Brunswick athletic program. My little contribution here regarding Dave Goldstein is, what better way to remember this season that he's had by a single season record. I don't think anybody would have given you 25 cents for Dave Goldstein being able to any single season record.
You're right, Jim. You're right.
Forte looking for Pressman.
Oh!
What a go out of his hands. A great attempt by Pressman.
A great attempt, and
if this was the pros, he should have had it, but unfortunately, this is not, and we'll just credit that with a very, very nice
a tremendous
try.
effort, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's sometime you leave your feet. We saw 2 things. We saw Venu Bandaro. He has learned that you got to put your hands out in front of you to catch that ball with hands first, and Pressman here, I think, left his feet before he had to.
It'll bring up 3rd and 8 for the Bears on the Woodbridge 48. Start of the 4th period. Forte going to put it up once again.
Boy, look at the time he has.
And he's got the whole center of the field. Sprints to the outside.
Great
He's got the first down and will go out of bounds smartly.
All right, great presence of mind to do it that time.
16 yards.
So East Brunswick will get another 4 downs to work with. Phil, we talked about this being the last game for the seniors, last home game.
Right.
And for you and I, this is the last home game for our daughters in cheering.
That's right. It's, you know, it makes you a little misty-eyed.
Their mothers are quite happy, I'm sure. Here's Goldstein up the middle, juking and jiving his way through. Goldstein, first down, East Brunswick.
15 yards on that play.
David Goldstein, Jimmy. And I tell you, he's looking like David Goldstein.
If anybody's interested, he needs 34 yards.
And he's got 11:36 to work with. Ball at the Woodbridge 20.
All righty.
Feldman in now to the right. Forte's pass.
Good.
Charleston makes the grab at the 15-yard line, and it's taken out of bounds.
I'll tell you, John, you talk about us and our daughters graduating and whatnot. I'll tell you the people I think about, and I'll tell you some of the people that the players are thinking as they come to the last game. People like Bob Lawless and Ralph Sorrentino, Pop Warner coaches. I don't know the St. Bart people who have been in the organization for a long time, but that's some of the people the players think about, the people who actually started them out. And you can't help. And believe me, their coaches think about them as well.
Second and about 6 to go for the Bears. Ball on the Woodbridge 16. This is DeVito. Joey tripped up in the backfield, gets back maybe to the line of scrimmage, possibly a yard or two. Let's give him one. Call it third down and about 5.
Bears very workmanlike during this drive.
And Trent coming on the field a little late.
Feldman coming off. Trent will go out to the left with Charleston.
Fake.
Forte has it, sets up, looks
Trent's
for the corner. There's Trent, touchdown, East Brunswick, all by himself.
Gorgeous play.
I'll tell you, and Mike Feldman had to be saying, geez, that play would have been for me. Trent came on the field at the very last moment. They must have told him to play really quick, and boom, right there.
That'll make it 27-0 East Brunswick. 9:60 to go here in the fourth period. I'm not 9:60, 9:50.
So Forte, second touchdown pass this afternoon.
Dan Levine looking to add to his county scoring leadership position. And he misses it to the right.
Well, that's the first one he's missed this season.
Wow. I think the second, Jimmy. Okay.
In any event.
All right. So it's 27-0. And we'll start to see now if Coach Borden puts in some of those seniors. And some of the other players get an opportunity to play their last home game here at J. Doyle Field. 1988 season. It's been
a funny season.
Funny season.
It really has. It's just like it's just been one of those seasons. I think that people will remember for different reasons, a number of different reasons. But
some highs and lows.
Highs and lows. It's been a tough season, though. It really has.
But the important thing, it's not over yet.
Levine puts one high. That'll be it. Can't be run out by Veras. And so Woodbridge will start off from their own 20. It's getting a little nippy up here.
Well, we're at the time of the year where once the sun is
not
on you.
We've been really lucky this year, mind you, though. We've been through some
cold weather.
Cold weather. We've been through some brutal.
Yeah, but I think the
We had a
raindrops
lot
have
of
more
rain,
than made
yeah.
up for it. Phil. And it looks like the secondary has been changed. Brian Forte is now out of there.
Replaced by Pilato, number 42. Handoff. Big hole up the middle.
Flag.
And that's Paperi.
And Mike Pilato making a tackle.
Official pointing to a Woodbridge player, ineligible receiver.
How couldn't you on the run?
Wait a minute. Cap on top of the head. What is that, Mr. Official?
That's a legal move, legal receiver downfield. They're bringing it back.
Well,
How can it be on a running play?
I don't know.
That is an interesting call.
We're going to find out, or at least we know it is against Woodbridge, so
They're
They'll bring
marking
him
back,
back.
5 yards
And
here, I
that's the
guess.
call.
And if it's a loss of down, that will be the call.
well, I'm stumped. I don't know what
Got
it
me
is.
too.
I mean, it wasn't even as if Woodbridge had feigned a pass.
It'll still be first down, but it'll be 1st and 20 now for Woodbridge. The ball at the
So there's no
Woodbridge
loss of down.
10.
Again, I don't. It must be a different call of some sort.
same basic play.
Well, we got an East Brunswick player, or Sean Smith, I thought was slightly shaken up, but he gets up.
You got Mike Hack and Greg Rullo on the tackle.
Bears still sticking with their basic defense. A couple of new faces in there. I see number 41, who naturally doesn't have a number in our program.
Second and about 18 now. I've got to think, Phil, if you're a Woodbridge player, you're quite frustrated by the fact that all you have is a wishbone offense.
And when, as we pointed out time and time again, when you're behind, it's very difficult.
Okay, Pete Canamessa, our director up here, has just told me that the penalty against Woodbridge was for having 12 men on the field.
Oh, thank you, Peter.
And for that, Peter will receive a set of ginseng knives.
Okay.
3rd and 15 for the Barrons. Tulko rolls right, sets up and looks over the middle, and almost intercepted once again through the hands of Rullo.
Yeah, he almost had his
I'll tell
interception
you,
there.
I'll tell you, John, you know, you want to talk about Pete. Pete does a little bit of everything, but they really do a tremendous job up here. They're here in the inclement weather. Once we leave, they're still taking down equipment and everything else, and they do a tremendous job.
That's right.
My hat off to them.
We do owe
echo that.
a debt of thanks to Pete Canamessa and Dave Ambrosi for being with us. They were with us every game for the most part. And also the support from the East Brunswick Library to allow us to present these games, and obviously the athletic department here at East Brunswick. Paperi's punt is low. Trent looked like he was going to play with it.
He
and
doesn't
then
even know what to
stepped away from it.
field it this time.
East Brunswick will have it in Woodbridge territory. Good field position.
Okay, Forte steps onto the field.
And we'll see if they're going to look to get Dave Goldstein the 100 yards,
Well,
Jim.
he certainly could do it. He's
How
got
many more?
34 yards he needs. Woodbridge calls timeout, John. And I do think the coaches are aware of the situation. There would be no other reason to leave the first team in at this time.
I disagree with you. I may be wrong, but
Well, we'll find out. It's 7:35 left in the 4th period. East Brunswick on top 27-0, and they have the ball 1st and 10 on the Woodbridge 49. And as you see the team surrounding Coach Marcus Borden, not a hell of a lot you need to say at this point.
Not a
Phil.
hell not need to say, but as you see the team surrounding them, John, I don't know where their minds are, but my mind is on the thing of opportunity. And you can't help but think about next week. And they have a golden opportunity to race the point. They became a part of infamous history with that score against Madison Central. They got a chance to do something about it. If they don't win, they certainly have a chance to play better. But I'm here to tell you that they can win if they put it all together.
Well, not many times in a season do you have an opportunity to come back and erase that kind of mark, and they certainly have that opportunity. And they've looked tremendous today.
But East Brunswick, though, it's been a more common thing than not.
All right, Forte hands off to DeVito, right up the middle. Flag is thrown.
Ooh.
Joey's got the first down, but I think we're going to have a holding call against the Bears.
Quick opener there.
And Dave Clark is saying, come on. What do you mean I held him?
That trap play, sometimes you're a little slow, and so you need to hold on, and Dave Clark got caught. But, you know, Dave has been an outstanding center, and we mentioned it a couple games ago. He made the transition from, I believe, a guard position to the center. And, Phil, that's a major change for a young man.
That is a major change, really. You need such great discipline in order to be a center. He's the one that starts everything. You got to have complete faith in your center. Dave Clark has been a good one.
First down now, and with the penalty, it'll be 1st and 20 for the Bears. And here's Goldstein. He's still on his feet, needs a block.
Oh!
Throws one tackler aside. Goldstein picks up about 5 yards.
Feisty, I tell you, Dave Goldstein showing a little bit of upper body strength. One guy had him around the legs, and number 24 came in, and Dave just sort of threw him off him.
6:50 to go here in the game.
So Goldstein gets back 5 of those yards.
2nd and 15. Ball on the East Brunswick 46. Forte rolls to his left, plants, throws up for Bandero, and he's got it. And
made the catch this time.
Van Noot made the catch this time because he got his hands out in front, used nothing but hands. Nice catch for the young man.
And you know he's got to feel good.
He does. He probably feels just as good about having taken those shots that he did take from that guy. Taking a shot and getting back up and getting back in the game.
Phil, I can't help but recall last year's game against Madison Central in a similar situation where they put in a senior. I forget the young man's name.
I know what you're talking about.
But he was in 7th heaven, and rightly so. Forte right up the middle. There's no one there. He drops the ball. It's still loose, and East Brunswick's recovered.
Yeah, East Brunswick got on it.
Well, Woodbridge had a player come from the sidelines.
Somebody down for East Brunswick.
It looks like Dave Clark. I'm not sure.
Glasses on him.
Woodbridge had a player come from the sidelines, which was behind the line of scrimmage as he came there. So it seems to me there could have been a penalty. It wasn't called, however.
I think it's Clark.
It looks like Phil Hosser, the trainer's looking at either a wrist or arm or possibly a shoulder.
Right shoulder, yeah.
And we certainly hope it's not serious for the young man's sake and for the team's sake. As we just finished talking about, the center is where it all begins, and you have to have confidence in that position. And Dave Clark is up.
Holding that right arm a little bit. But knowing him, he's not going to let an injury like this stop him from playing next week.
You know, you tend to see a lot of injuries when a fumble occurs because generally players relax and then the ball's loose and then, you know, people are hitting you from all sides scrambling for the ball.
That's true.
So we're glad to see Dave up on his feet. It's 1st and 10 for the Bears. They have it on the Woodbridge 28. Forte being pressured up the middle, has to roll to his right.
It's a nice screen from the official.
And he's got it. Pressman drops it.
Official effectively screened out the pass rush there.
Number 44, Brian Delkins, however, putting on tremendous pressure on Brian.
Pressman dropped the ball. He had it in his hands. So it'll be 2nd and 10, 5:32 left in the game.
And it looks like Borden has elected to keep Forte in as quarterback, but pretty much has sprinkled the the receivers with second stringers.
Banderu and Charleston to the right. Pitch to Goldstein. Goldstein finds a hole, and he's got the first down. It looks like a face mask, will they call it? He was kind of hogtied from behind. No flag, but it's 1st down East Brunswick.
Well, Jim?
He needs 14 yards.
The ball is sitting on the East Brunswick 15.
Little pop here by Goldstein will give East Brunswick its touchdown and the record.
And they'll come out, Goldstein in that I-back position in the I formation. And he's got the ball. A flag is thrown, and I think motion in the backfield for East Brunswick. I think DeVito started a little bit before the snap count. So that'll move East Brunswick back 5 yards. It'll bring up 1st and 15. The ball will be spotted at the Woodbridge 19-yard line.
And the clock starts.
4:55 left in the game. Come out, split back formation this time. Bandero and Charleston to the right. DeVito, another flag thrown, and DeVito trips. The ball is loose.
He goes down, and that leg gave out again.
And I think Bandero jumped this time.
Boy, Joey is a tough player. I know he's got to be hurting now. Gets up, shakes it off.
Waiting for the call. It's procedure against East Brunswick. So it'll be 1st and 20 now. And East Brunswick moving backwards. Ball at their own, the Woodbridge rather, 24-yard line. So we'll start all over. 1st and 20 now. Goldstein. He'll pick up about 7 yards.
All right. So unofficially, he needs but 8 yards. "16 carries.
A workmanlike effort today.
2nd and about 14 for the Bears. The ball now on the Woodbridge 18. 3:50 left in the game. The Bears on top, 27-0.
By the way, Forte is 9 for 19 unofficially.
That's Greg Rulo on the carry.
And Greg's a junior, so we're going to get to see plenty of him next year.
Clock down to 3:15. 3rd and about 8 yards from the Woodbridge 13.
See Levine limbering up for a field goal attempt here, but I don't think the Bears will go for it.
DeVito picks up a yard.
Hey, they've been having plenty of extracurricular activity between Brian Forte and who's ever rushing him. Number 71 there.
Well, every time Brian hands off, this young man keeps hitting Brian up around the shoulder pads.
Joe Brzezinski.
See Mike Salento, the Perth Amboy, the Woodbridge coach, running out on the field.
And
Salento now and Forte are into discussion.
And he may have a point. Brian got a little feel of giving contact out there. And a few times Brian has thrown the body into the person coming into him after. So
Marcus Borden's running now out on the field. The timeout has been called, and Borden talking to the officials.
Yeah, Marcus is objecting to the way Salento pointed his finger at Brian Forte. I think it's more out of frustration than anything else.
I would hope Marcus is talking about the fact that the guy is attempting to rough Brian. I mean, whether Mike Salento shows some frustration or not isn't the point.
So I guess we have a 4th down here, do we not? Or is it 3rd?
And it looks like.
And Borden is pulling Forte out of the game. Brian doesn't seem to want to come, but it's probably the smart thing at this point in time.
And just a side note, Dan Levine is on the field, so he will attempt a field goal.
And this may be a little bit of
I don't
in your
understand
face.
this. Yeah, I think maybe
You know, we were
this
going to
could be
run the
more of
ball
a
out.
Yeah, it could be more of a reaction to what transpired just before. Really not necessary to go for a field goal here.
Jim, this is what also gives me the indication, I agree with Phil, that they're not aware of where Goldstein is, because they could have
Apparently not.
certainly let Goldstein run the ball. But on 4th down,
This would be a
Levine with a
28-yarder.
yeah, about 28 yards. And a little bit of take that. Kick is up.
Yep.
And it's good.
Puts it through.
So 30-0, the Bears extend their lead now.
And that's not going to make the people on the Woodbridge side very happy. I have to tell you, though, through the years, not because of Mike Salento, but more because of the other coach, and I can't remember his name.
I'll tell you, you're talking about Vinny Capraro.
Capraro. That has happened before, where when Woodbridge was up, and they've had some good teams through the years, laced into East Brunswick a couple times, and who knows, this might be a way of Marcus Borden responding a couple of years later.
Nah, I think it's because of what just happened. But I tell you, Vinny Capraro, you're probably wondering what happened to him. He went up to Uppsala College along with his brother, Frank Capraro, who's been coaching up there for a number of years. So he's glad to be there. And Mike Salento, a big break for him coming to Woodbridge. He played for Colonia, which was part of Woodbridge Township, and said he's glad to have the opportunity to coach Woodbridge. It's a dream of his.
I got to say one thing. I'd love to be in attendance at the next county coaches meeting with Borden, DeMarco, and Salento. It's no Friars Club, I'm sure. Levine's kick will take Barrons to his 5, and he'll get outside, and a nice return by the young man, just short of his own 30. And flags are being thrown, and now it's getting a little messy.
The official's pointing to Goldstein, and Goldstein saying, "What are you talking about?" And by all means, do not get kicked out of the game at this point in time.
And I think that's Marcus Borden's major concern. Personal foul.
Did he get kicked out?
We don't know yet.
I hope not.
Offsetting penalty.
Dan Goldstein is terribly upset.
Oh, gosh, if he's kicked out of the game, you know what that means, folks.
Does that count for playoffs as well?
I believe it does, but I don't. Let's see.
Well, I'm going to say something,
and
and I'm sure the parents are not going to enjoy hearing this. There's a lot of mouthing off going on by athletes today, whether it be football players or other athletes. And that just can't be tolerated. It can't be tolerated by a coaching staff. It can't be tolerated by officials. They're in there to play the game, and they have to accept the calls of officials. They have to accept the decision of coaches, and that's the way life is.
Yeah. Goes with discipline, John.
Yeah, and we really see too much of that, you know, and I'm really distressed by it.
And so you see Joey DeVito coming out as well. Doesn't seem to want to come out. You're talking about talking back. I mean, I didn't talk back against my coach, no matter what the situation is. And you're right, we seem to have more. I guess it's a sign of the times, though. But back to our major concern, I hope it's just Marcus Borden taking Levine out. And maybe he's upset because he knows he's going for a record, and hoping certainly that it is an official that put him out.
Well, he's, you know, Phil, I agree with you, and John, I agree with you with what you said, but I tell you what, I have to think that his wanting to play next week would just supersede everything.
Well, you lose it, you know, and that's the idea with the problem.
Wow.
Flags all over.
12 men on the field.
You wonder, we just finished with a timeout there, I tell you. And it goes to show you things are a little out of whack. We just had a timeout there.
Yeah.
The coach is on the field, and we still end up with too many men on the field. Something's out of whack.
Well, it may have been that number 50, Matt Pazinko, did not get off the field in time.
1, 2, 3.
Goldstein now is talking to the official on the sidelines. We don't have the camera on him.
We don't know. I did not get any indication that he was ejected.
I didn't see the signal by the official either saying that he was gone. But
now, why is that a penalty? Too many men on the field. Why is that 15-yard penalty?
Well, the officials have lost it too. 2 minutes and 15 seconds still remain in this ball game. Woodbridge has it, and they've lost the ball. The ball's on the ground, and it's picked up by East Brunswick. Joe Henkins, I believe.
Bears get the ball.
Look what I found.
And Goldstein, thank goodness, is going back in the game.
All right.
Tom Joe Henkins comes up with the fumble recovery. So with 2 minutes to go, clock is running. I would think the clock would have stopped at with the change of possession. I guess not. The question is, can East Brunswick find 11 guys to put out there? And here they come. And we have a new quarterback. That's number 11, Jimmy White.
And Goldstein is not going back in the game, but it's very clear that he has not been kicked out of the game. It's unfortunate that he's pulled out. What's he need, about 7 yards?
He needed 8 yards to set a record.
1:25 left. White is the quarterback.
He'll do that next week, I guess, but I'm not sure if playoff games count.
And see Mr. Goldstein looking to, wondering what's happening with
He's
Annie.
quite concerned.
Clock going, 1 minute left in this ball game. And it looks like East Brunswick will register a shutout.
So this looks to be your heir apparent quarterback. Well, it's going to be an interesting quarterback battle next
And
year.
another flag down.
Troy White, who had a season-ending injury against, I believe it was against J.P. Stevens, maybe earlier than that, but he certainly will be vying for the quarterback job along with Jimmy White, who is his brother. I don't know.
No, no relation.
No relation.
Nope.
Okay, and then Pete Forte, Brian's younger brother, who is just a freshman, I think.
And anyone else that could come along, really, if you have a good athlete. And
Clock running inside 30 seconds now. White fumbles the ball, falls on it. And that could just about do it. And so East Brunswick
That's going to do it, John.
will register its 7th win of the year and go 7-2 during the regular season. And more importantly, to end the season with a shutout, a 30-0 shutout over Woodbridge. Jimmy, your thoughts?
Well, I think it was a great way for East Brunswick to finish the season. Not the last few seconds, but certainly the way the East Brunswick team came through, played an admirable game. Brian Forte ending his home season and career at East Brunswick with a great win.
Phil?
as we said before, it's been a funny season, but it's a good way to end it. What I want to say, John, is that you hear an awful lot. Our thoughts turn right away to Madison Central. Yeah, I've heard everything from the Bear players being afraid of Madison Central to all sorts of things. And all I can tell them is that this is a golden opportunity. You got a chance to play a team that made you sort of infamous because of the score. They put you in the history books negatively, and not usually you have to deal with that the rest of your life. Now you have an opportunity to get back. They got to play the best game and give it all they got. They got to go in positive. And from what I saw against Colonial last night, Madison Central, they are vulnerable and they can be beaten.
Well, no doubt about it. Next week is a new season. Everything is equal, and East Brunswick will be traveling down to Madison Central to take on the Spartans. We know the history of that series. It's been a tough series, and we will be there. That is, we, Jimmy, Phil, and myself, as Channel 8 will bring you the first round of the Central Jersey Group 4 state playoffs. That is East Brunswick against Madison Central. For all of us here from Channel 8, we hope you enjoyed the game. We'll see you next week.